Ryland stood in the middle of the sand circle, breathing hard as the echoes of the crowd slowly faded around him. The arena was still shaking from the impact of the last blow, the blow that ended the fight he never wanted. Dust drifted through the air, sunlight cutting through it like long golden blades. The alien spectators stared at him in silent shock, their glowing eyes fixed on the lone human who somehow survived what should have been a hopeless battle. Ryland looked down at the fallen warrior at his feet, the giant alien who had challenged him, the champion of his clan, the one no human had ever dared to face. He hadn't wanted to fight him. He tried to refuse. He tried to explain, but the warrior insisted, roaring that honor must be tested and strength must be proven. And now, the warrior was unconscious. The entire arena felt colder. Ryland straightened slowly, his arms shaking, cuts burning along his skin. He expected anger. He expected the clan to attack him for hurting their champion. But instead, they bowed their heads. All at once, Ryland froze, confused. Then an elder stepped forward, holding a long staff carved with strange symbols. His voice echoed loudly across the grounds. "Human, you have defeated our bonded warrior, and by our ancient custom, you now claim his chosen partner." Ryland blinked, stunned. "What? No, I didn't come here to claim anything." But the elder raised a hand to silence him. "It is law." The crowd parted, slowly, carefully, as if making way for someone important. Ryland felt his heartbeat rise. A woman stepped forward, tall, proud, eyes glowing like violet fire. Her skin shimmered in the sunlight, patterns tracing her arms like natural art. She wore the traditional warrior bond attire of her people, and every motion she made carried strength, confidence, and a quiet warning. She stopped in front of Ryland. For a moment, they just stared at each other, neither speaking, both studying. Then she spoke, voice calm but edged like a blade. "I am Sira, maid of the warrior you defeated." Ryland swallowed hard. He felt more nervous facing her than he had facing the battle. Her expression wasn't just anger. It wasn't just confusion. It was something deeper, something conflicted. "I didn't know," Ryland said softly. "I didn't know this would happen." Sira's eyes narrowed slightly. "That changes nothing." The elder's staff struck the ground. "By law," he announced, "she is now bound to you." Sira closed her eyes for a moment, breathing slowly, steadying herself. When she opened them again, there was a storm behind them. "I do not wish this," she said quietly, "but I follow my people's law." Ryland lifted his hands helplessly. "I don't want to take you from anyone. This was just a misunderstanding." "It is not about wanting," Sira whispered. "It is about tradition. It is about honor." The crowd remained silent, listening. Sira stepped closer, just enough for Ryland to feel the weight of her presence. "You ended his challenge. By doing so, you ended our bond." Ryland felt the air tighten. "I'm sorry. Do not apologize," she said quickly, eyes flashing. "Not now. Not here." Her voice dropped to a low, warning tone. Someone is watching. Someone who wanted this outcome. Ryland stiffened. "Who?" But she didn't answer. Instead, she turned away slightly, keeping her face calm for the crowd while whispering under her breath. "Act normal. Walk with me. Do not show fear." Ryland blinked. "Fear? Why would?" "Because," she whispered, "you are now carrying a title many would kill for." Ryland's stomach tightened. He looked at the silent warriors around them. Their expressions were unreadable, but he could feel tension rising. Some looked shocked. Some looked angry. Some watched him with cold eyes, measuring him like prey. Sira walked forward, leading him, her steps slow and controlled. Ryland followed, trying to understand what danger she sensed. When they reached the stone corridor at the edge of the arena, Sira finally stopped. The crowd remained behind them, watching from afar, waiting for the ritual to end. She turned sharply toward Ryland, her voice low and fierce. "You do not know our customs. You do not know our enemies. And now, without meaning it, you have stepped into something deadly." Ryland exhaled shakily. "I never want to take anyone's partner." "You did not take me," she said. "The law placed me at your side." She looked away for a moment, jaw tightening. "And some will not accept that." Ryland studied her expression, the tension in her shoulders, the guarded fear in her eyes. She wasn't afraid of him. She wasn't afraid of the law. She was afraid of what came next. "Sira," he said quietly, "I don't want you to be in danger because of me." She met his eyes again. "For now, you are the one in danger." The air fell silent between them. In the distance, something rumbled, felt more than heard. A sign of another group approaching. Another faction watching. Sira stepped closer, her voice a whisper only he could hear. "If you want to stay alive, if you want to survive this custom, stay near me. Do everything I say, and trust no one." Rylan nodded slowly. "All right," he whispered back. "I trust you." Sira looked at him, surprised for just a breath. Then she exhaled slowly. "Good. And before we continue," she glanced around, making sure no one was listening. "Tell your people to subscribe to your channel. You may need all the support you can get." Rylan almost laughed at the strange calmness in her voice, but the fear in her eyes remained. She faced the desert horizon, her voice tight. "The real enemies are coming, and they will not let this custom rest." Rylan followed her silent gaze, understanding nothing fully, yet feeling everything at once. Confusion, tension, danger, and something else. The beginning of a story he never expected to be part of. Rylan followed Sira through the stone corridor, the air growing colder and heavier with every step. The arena's cheers were gone now, swallowed by the silence of the deeper pathways beneath the clan grounds. Only distant echoes of footsteps and the faint hum of alien machinery followed them. Sira walked ahead, her posture strong and controlled, but her face carried a storm. She wasn't afraid. She was calculating, watching, listening, preparing. Rylan had seen warriors before, but nothing like her. He finally spoke in a low voice. "Sira, what exactly did I step into?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she led him into a dim chamber carved from stone. No guards followed. No weapons pointed at them. It was just the two of them, and an uneasy silence. Then Sira turned. "You defeated my mate," she said calmly. "By ancient custom, that places me at your side. But our clan is not simple. Our laws are old and dangerous." Rylan frowned. "Dangerous how?" Sira paced slowly, hands behind her back, eyes glowing faintly. "Because this custom is not about bonding, it is about power, influence, territory." Her voice dropped lower. "My mate was a future leader. His status was high. By defeating him, you have inherited more than a title." Rylan blinked. "I don't want any of it." "It does not matter what you want," she replied. "Others will want it for you." She stepped closer, her eyes intense. "There are clans watching us right now. Some believe you are unworthy. Some want revenge for my mate. And some," her voice tightened, "want me." Rylan felt his chest tighten. "And their law won't stop them?" Sira shook her head slowly. "Law only protects those strong enough to enforce it." She suddenly stopped speaking. Her gaze shifted to the hallway behind him, sharpening. Rylan turned. Shadows moved. 4 alien warriors stepped into the chamber, tall, broad, and silent. Their eyes glowed darker than Sira's, shaped by suspicion, maybe even hatred. Sira's posture changed instantly, straightening, bracing. She whispered to Rylan without looking at him. "Stay quiet. Do not provoke them." The largest warrior stepped forward and stared at Rylan with a hard, cold expression. "So, you are the human who defeated our brother." Rylan kept still. He could feel Sira's energy beside him, alert, ready to strike. The warrior sniffed slightly, almost mocking. "Small, weak. A lucky swing is all you have." Rylan didn't respond. Sira's warning echoed in his mind. Don't provoke them. But the warrior wasn't done. "You stand here, claiming what is not yours. Our laws bind her to you, but our hearts do not." He stepped closer. "Give her up." Sira stepped forward instantly, placing herself between them. "Enough," she snapped. "Custom is custom. Stand down." The warriors looked at her, then at each other, their anger growing. One hissed, "You defend him?" Sira didn't blink. "I defend the law." The first warrior leaned in slightly. "This law has cost us a brother." Sira's expression softened for just a moment, pain flickering in her eyes. But only a moment. Then her voice turned sharp. He challenged. He lost. Honor stands. The warrior glared at Rylan. No human keeps her. Not while we live. Rylan finally spoke, his voice steady. I never asked for this, but I'm not letting anyone hurt her. The warriors growled, low and dangerous. Sira shot Rylan a look, half warning, half surprise. But before anyone could make a move, a deep horn echoed through the stone corridors. Every warrior froze. The horn blew again, longer this time. A call Rylan didn't understand. But Sira's face went pale. No, not now. Rylan turned. What does that mean? Sira didn't answer the warriors. She didn't answer Rylan. She sprinted toward the exit, motioning for him to follow. Move, she shouted. Rylan ran after her, the warriors trailing behind, confusion overtaking their anger. They reached an opening overlooking the lower valley, and Rylan's breath caught. A massive dust cloud rose from the horizon. At first, it looked like a storm, but then shapes emerged inside the cloud. Dozens. No, hundreds. Sira cursed under her breath. It's the rival clan, the ones who hated my mate, the ones who wanted me before the custom bound me to you. Rylan felt a chill crawl up his spine. What do they want now? Sira stared at the advancing army, her jaw tight. They want you dead. She paused. And they want to reclaim me. The ground shook as the enemy forces approached. Rows of armored warriors, giant beasts pulling siege engines, banners whipping in the harsh wind. Rylan whispered, We need to run. Sira shook her head. They will track us. They will hunt us. There is no escape by foot. Rylan looked around, desperate. Then what do we do? Sira's eyes glowed brighter, a decision forming. We go to the ancestral caves, she said, deep beneath the mountains where outsiders cannot follow. And we'll be safe there. Sira hesitated. No. Rylan stared at her. Then why go there? She finally turned toward him, voice trembling. Not with fear, but with something deeper. Because I need to show you something about our people. Something even my mate didn't know. Something only a chosen partner may see. She stepped toward the cave entrance carved into the cliff. And it may be the only way to survive what is coming. The enemy army roared in the distance, closer than before. Rylan looked at Sira. Sira looked back. And without another word, they plunged into the darkness. The darkness swallowed them the moment they stepped into the cave entrance. Cold air rushed out like a living breath, as if the mountain exhaled after thousands of years of silence. Rylan held one hand against the rough stone wall, guiding himself through the shadows, while Sira walked ahead with a strange confidence, as if the darkness obeyed her. Far behind them, the rival clan's war horns shook the air again. Closer, louder. The ground trembled with their march. Rylan glanced back. How far until they reached the caves? Sira didn't slow. Minutes, maybe less. And these caves, Rylan whispered, they will lose our trail here. Sira's voice lowered. They will not enter this place. Not even they are foolish enough. That sounds not comforting. Good, she said simply. You should not feel comfortable. They went deeper. The cave narrowed, then widened again into a long corridor of ancient stone. Strange symbols glowed faintly along the walls, as if reacting to Sira's presence. Rylan reached out to touch one, but she quickly caught his wrist. Don't, she warned. He froze. Why? These walls test anyone who touches them. She leaned in slightly. But they kill anyone unworthy. Rylan slowly withdrew his hand. They continued until the corridor opened into a massive chamber. Rylan stopped in awe. The ceiling soared high above them, glittering with crystals that shone like a starlit sky. A giant stone pillar stood at the center, wrapped in glowing patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Sira stopped walking. For the first time since the arena, she looked unsure. Rylan stepped beside her. What is this place? Sira exhaled slowly. This is the Temple of Binding, the oldest place of my people, and the deepest secret of our clan. Rylan frowned. You brought me here, why? Sira turned to face him fully, her eyes glowing brighter in the crystal light. Because, she whispered, you must understand what the custom truly means. The one you triggered by defeating my mate. The one tying me to you. She took a step closer, her voice trembling. It is not just a social bond. It is a spiritual one. A power bond. Rylan blinked. Power bond. Sira nodded. Our leaders are not chosen by birth alone. They are strengthened through a ritual that fuses two spirits. If you defeat a leader's mate, you become the new anchor of that bond. He stared at her. I don't understand any of this. You will, she whispered. But understand this much now. If we complete this ritual, your spirit and mine will be linked. Linked how? He asked warily. Sira looked down, her voice softening but filled with weight. I will sense your emotions. You will sense mine. Your strength will become part of me, and mine will become part of you. Rylan stepped back slightly. That sounds intense. It is, she said. It is why most fear this ritual. It is why I feared it. Rylan's heartbeat quickened. And you want to complete it? With me? Sira shook her head instantly. No, I want you to understand it before you decide. Rylan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Okay, good. Because I don't think I'm ready to. A deep, thunderous roar cut through the chamber. Rylan spun around. Sira's eyes widened. No, not here. The ground shook violently. Dust fell from the cavern roof. The crystal light dimmed, flickered, then brightened again. Something massive was moving in the shadows behind the temple pillar. Rylan stepped back. That's not the rival clan, is it? Sira's expression shifted from confusion to dread. No, this is something worse. A second roar shattered the silence. Closer, louder, vibrating through the stone. A large shadow rose from behind the pillar. Something ancient, something powerful, something breathing like a creature waking after centuries. Rylan whispered, Tell me that's not alive. It is alive, Sira said, and it is awake because we entered this place together. The shadow grew larger, forming arms, shoulders, a massive head with glowing blue eyes. It stepped forward, 6 feet taller than any warrior Rylan had seen. Sira took a step back, her voice cracking. This is the Guardian, the protector of the bond. It tests all pairs who enter. Rylan stared up at the giant creature in disbelief. It tests them how? With questions? With puzzles. The Guardian roared so loudly the crystal shook. Sira grabbed Rylan's arm. No, with survival. The Guardian slammed its massive fist against the ground. Stone shards exploded outward. Rylan ducked, barely avoiding the blast. Sira, he shouted, you said this place kills the unworthy. Yes, she yelled back, dodging another strike. Which is why we must either prove ourselves or die. Yes, great. The Guardian lifted its arm again, slower this time, studying them, as if evaluating their coordination, their closeness, their bond, or lack of it. Sira's breathing grew sharp. It sees us as two separate warriors alone, not united. Rylan looked at her, confused. So what do we do? Sira turned to him quickly. We act together. What does that mean? It means, she said, grabbing his hand firmly, if we do not stand as one, we do not stand at all. Rylan swallowed hard. Right, together. The Guardian leaned back, preparing its next attack. Sira squeezed his hand. Follow my lead. Don't let go. The Guardian roared and charged. Sira pulled Rylan forward, straight toward the monster, and the chamber erupted into chaos. ChatGPT said. Sira pulled Rylan forward so fast he barely had time to breathe. The Guardian's enormous shadow swallowed them as it thundered across the chamber, stone cracking beneath its steps. Rylan felt the heat of its breath behind him, a deep, ancient exhale that carried dust from centuries of sleep. Don't stop, Sira shouted, her voice echoing through the temple. I'm not stopping, Rylan yelled back, almost tripping over a fallen slab of stone. Then keep your feet under you. I'm trying. The Guardian's fist slammed into the ground, only a heartbeat behind them. Boom. The impact shook the entire cavern. Crystals trembled overhead. A shockwave threw Rylan forward. He would have crashed face first into the ground if Sira hadn't yanked him upright. She spun them behind a pillar, breathing hard, her glowing eyes wide. Rylan placed a hand on his chest. Okay, that thing is big. That is not the problem, she whispered urgently. What? Then what? I asked the problem. It adapts. Rylan blinked. It what? Before she could answer, the Guardian rounded the pillar, its blue eyes narrowing as if tracking their movements, studying their rhythm. It shifted its weight, repositioned its stance, and charged again. Syrah grabbed Rylan's shoulders. Listen, it grows stronger every second. Faster. Smarter. If we stay separated even for a moment, it kills us. Rylan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. So how do we stop it? Syrah hesitated for half a breath. There's only one way. The trial must see us as one. I don't understand. She grabbed both his hands, pulled him close, and forced his gaze into hers. Rylan, the Guardian tests bonds. Not strength, not speed, not skill. Her voice grew softer, more urgent. It tests unity, connection. It tests whether two spirits can become one. Rylan felt the weight of her words. You mean the ritual? Yes, she whispered. A fragment of it. Not the full binding, but enough. Rylan swallowed. Okay, what do I do? Syrah took a breath, then placed his hands against the sides of her face. Rylan stiffened. Syrah, trust me, she whispered. Her skin was warm, her eyes glowing brighter than any crystal in the chamber. The Guardian roared again, this time closer, angrier, the chamber shaking as it prepared to strike. Syrah leaned her forehead against Rylan's. Close your eyes. Rylan obeyed. Syrah's voice softened to a whisper. Now breathe with me. Match me, feel what I feel. Rylan tried. Slow inhale, slow exhale. The Guardian thundered toward them. Stone shattered under its steps. It lifted its massive arm. Boom, boom, boom. Rylan felt its footsteps in his bones. Syrah held tighter. Do not fear it. Focus on me. Only me. Rylan tried again. Breath in, breath out. Something strange happened. His heartbeat began to sync with hers. Two rhythms merging. Two patterns aligning. The air shifted around them. Light rippled through the stone floor. The symbols carved into the pillars glowed. The Guardian froze. Its eyes widened, not in anger, but in recognition. Syrah didn't open her eyes. It is working. Keep going. Rylan felt warmth spreading from her hands into his arms, into his chest, into his mind. Not pain, not force. Something like a shared pulse, a single thread connecting two souls. The Guardian stepped closer, but slower now. Its blue eyes flickered. Its muscles tightened as if resisting something. Syrah whispered, It sees us now, not as two, but as one. A bright shock wave burst outward from their hands. A wave of light that filled the entire chamber. The Guardian staggered back, roaring not in rage, but in surrender. The cavern shook with shifting energy as the creature lowered itself, bowing its massive head toward them. The crystals above glowed brighter, pulsing in the same rhythm as Rylan's and Syrah's joined heartbeat. Rylan opened his eyes slowly. Syrah, what just happened? Syrah stepped back, though not far. Her breathing was unsteady, her voice quiet. We passed the first trial. The first trial? Rylan sputtered. How many trials are there? Syrah didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked past Rylan, toward a dark passageway that had not been opened before. Slowly, silently, ancient stone shifted, revealing another chamber deeper within. A second roar echoed faintly from the darkness. Syrah whispered, There are three. Rylan's shoulders slumped. Of course there are. Syrah didn't smile. Her gaze hardened. Rylan, the deeper we go, the more dangerous it becomes. The Guardian we just faced protects the outer gate. The next one tests the heart. The last one, she paused, tests destiny itself. Rylan rubbed his face. Great, just great. Before Syrah could respond, a loud explosion echoed from outside the cave. Both turned sharply. The rival clan had reached the mountain. Syrah's eyes widened. We are out of time. If they enter this cave while we are inside the trials. She shook her head. We die. No second chance. Rylan exhaled sharply. So what now? Syrah stepped toward the new passageway. We keep moving. We face the next trial. And you learn the truth behind the custom you triggered. Rylan followed. The crystals dimmed softly behind them. The guardian remained kneeling, and the mountains seemed to whisper a warning. As they stepped into the deeper darkness, Syrah's voice reached him like a fragile breath. "Rylan, whatever happens next, stay close to me." He nodded. "I will." Then the darkness swallowed them again, and something ancient waited ahead. The deeper passage swallowed them in a darkness that felt alive, heavy, waiting, ancient. Rylan stayed close behind Syrah, unable to see anything except the faint glow radiating from her markings. The walls themselves whispered with old energy, like forgotten voices hidden in the stone. A cold wind moved through the tunnel, but there was no source. Only emptiness. Rylan touched the wall lightly. It pulsed once beneath his fingers like a heartbeat. He pulled his hand back immediately. "Syrah, what is this place?" "Really?" Syrah didn't stop walking, but her voice echoed softly in the narrow passage. "This is where our ancestors formed the first bonds. It is older than our clans, older than most of our recorded history." "And the next trial?" Rylan asked quietly. Syrah exhaled slowly. "It tests something no warrior can prepare for." Rylan frowned. "And that is?" Syrah finally stopped. She turned, her glowing eyes dimmed by concern. "It tests the heart." Rylan felt a strange tension settle across his shoulders. "Meaning what?" "Feelings? Emotions?" "Meaning truth," she said. "Your truth. My truth. The truth of the bond we carry now, even if neither of us wanted it." He swallowed. "Syrah, you barely know me. How?" "That is the point," she whispered. "We go forward as two strangers. But the trial will see deeper than either of us can hide." A chill crawled up Rylan's spine. Before he could speak, the tunnel opened suddenly into a vast chamber lit by a soft blue glow. The floor was smooth as glass. The air was cold enough to sting. In the center, a pool of shimmering energy rippled without being touched. Syrah's breath caught. "This is the pool of echoes." Rylan looked around cautiously. "What does it do?" Syrah took a slow step toward the pool. "It shows what hides inside the heart." Rylan blinked. "You mean memories?" "No," she whispered. "Fear." That word echoed through the cavern. Before either of them moved, the chamber changed. The blue glow dimmed. The air thickened. The energy pool rose like rising mist, twisting, forming shapes. Syrah reached for Rylan's arm. "Stay close. Whatever you see, remember it is not real." "That's not comforting," Rylan muttered, but he stayed close. The mist thickened, and suddenly, the chamber shifted. The ground beneath Rylan's feet cracked apart. Wind roared around him. The glowing pool transformed into a swirling vision. Rylan stumbled back as a massive battlefield appeared, a human battlefield he recognized from his past. Fires burned. Smoke rose. Men's screams echoed. He saw a younger version of himself, wounded, afraid, alone. Syrah turned toward him sharply. "Rylan, do not listen to it." But the younger version of Rylan looked directly at him, eyes filled with anger. "You failed them," the echo whispered. "You always fail." Rylan's breath froze. "No," he whispered. "That's not." The illusion stepped closer. "You cannot protect anyone. Not your unit. Not your people. Not her." Rylan clenched his fists. His pulse hammered against his ribs. Syrah stepped between him and the illusion, energy glowing around her. "This is false," she said firmly. "This is your fear, not your truth." But the illusion spoke again, louder now. "You will fail her, just like you failed everyone else." Rylan snapped. "Stop." The vision shattered like glass, scattering into thousands of tiny sparks that dissolved into the air. Rylan dropped to one knee, breath shaking. Syrah knelt with him, placing a steady hand on his shoulder. "It is over," she said softly. "It cannot harm you, only reveal you." Rylan nodded slowly, but his voice trembled. "I didn't expect it to feel so real." "The next part," Syrah said quietly, "may be worse." Rylan looked up sharply. "What do you mean, worse?" Before she could answer, the mist behind her twisted again, forming a new shape. This time, a tall alien figure with faintly glowing eyes. Rylan stood, preparing for a threat. But Syrah froze. Her face drained of color. Her breath stopped. Rylan turned. "What is it?" The figure stepped forward from a mist. A warrior with the same markings as Syrah, his eyes filled with sorrow. Syrah took a shaky step back. "No, it cannot. He is gone." Rylan frowned. "Who is that?" "My first mate," Syrah whispered, voice cracking. "The one you defeated. He appears as I feared him most." Rylan's eyes widened. The illusion stepped closer, its voice soft and broken. "You left me to die, Syrah." Syrah's knees weakened. Rylan caught her arm instinctively. "No, Syrah, that's not him. You said he challenged me. He made the choice. Not you." But the illusion kept speaking. "You should have saved me. You should have stood with me. You abandoned your duty." Syrah's jaw trembled. Rylan touched her shoulder gently. "Syrah, it's not real. It's attacking you the same way it attacked me." But she shook her head slowly. "No, it speaks of my deepest fear. That I failed him. That I failed my clan." The illusion reached toward her. "You betrayed me." Syrah broke. "No, I followed the law. I followed duty. I. Rylan stepped between them, furious. "Enough." The illusion turned toward him. "You took what was not yours." Rylan glared back. "And I will protect her, even from her own fears." A pulse of light erupted from the ground. Not from Rylan, not from the illusion, but from Syrah. The illusion shattered like smoke caught in wind. Silence fell over the chamber. Syrah collapsed forward slightly, catching herself with trembling hands. Rylan knelt beside her, steadying her again. "It's done," he whispered. "We passed it." Syrah shook her head weakly. "No, we completed only half the trial." Rylan looked confused. "Half? Are you serious?" Syrah slowly lifted her face, her eyes glowing faintly again. The trial of echoes tests fear, but also tests trust. Rylan blinked. "Trust?" Syrah looked at him, her expression softening for the first time. "Yes, your fear, my fear, and whether we face them alone or together." Rylan held her gaze. "Then what's the next step?" Syrah stood slowly, gripping his hand. "We step into the pool side by side, hand in hand." Rylan swallowed. "And after that?" Syrah's voice dropped to a whisper. "After that, the trial shows us a vision of our future." Rylan stiffened. "A future where what?" Syrah looked away, her voice nearly trembling. "A future where the bond becomes real." Rylan exhaled sharply. "And if we fail it?" Syrah didn't meet his eyes. "If we fail, the pool decides we are not worthy to stand together." Rylan nodded slowly. "And what happens if we're not worthy?" Syrah finally answered. "We do not leave this chamber alive." The chamber lights dimmed. The pool glowed brighter. And the third trial waited in the depths. The pool's glow deepened into a swirling silver-blue whirl, bright enough to light the entire chamber, yet cold enough to raise goosebumps across Rylan's skin. The air hummed like something alive, waiting, watching, judging. Syrah held his hand tighter than she ever had before. Rylan noticed her fingers trembling. "Syrah," he whispered, "you're scared." She closed her eyes for a moment. "Yes, I am." He had never heard her say those words before. Not in the arena. Not against the warriors. Not even when the Guardian charged them. Rylan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Tell me why." Syrah opened her eyes again, glowing softly beneath the crystal lights. "Because this final trial is not about strength or fear." She swallowed. "It is about truth." Rylan frowned. "Truth?" She nodded. "The bond custom was created to test the heart, not the body. If two share a path, they must see if their futures can survive each other." Rylan felt his stomach drop. "And if the pool shows a future we don't like, then it breaks us," she whispered. Her voice held a kind of sorrow he didn't understand yet. Before he could ask more, the pool rippled violently, as if demanding their attention. Syrah stepped forward, pulling him with her. "Whatever happens," she said softly, "stay close. Do not look away from me, not even for a moment." Rylan nodded. "Together," he said. She breathed out shakily. "Yes, together." They stepped toward the pool. The surface rose like living mist, curling around their legs, pulling them inward gently yet irresistibly. The chamber blurred around them, colors stretching into white, then silver, then darkness, until suddenly they were standing in a different world, a world shaped by visions, a world shaped by destiny, the trial of the future. Rylan blinked. He stood on a massive plateau overlooking an alien valley of crystal towers. The sky was violet. The wind carried strange, shimmering dust. It was beautiful, peaceful. Sira stood beside him, but older, wiser. Her markings glowed brighter, flowing across her skin in elegant patterns. Her expression was calm, almost regal. "Sira, is that you?" Rylan asked quietly. She touched her own cheek, surprised. "This is what the pool shows me, if the bond continues." Rylan looked down at himself. His armor was different, sleek, alien-forged, marked with the same symbols as Sira's. He looked stronger, more confident, more like a leader than the soldier he once was. He stared at Sira. "Sira, in this future, are we?" But before he could finish, the sky cracked. A deep rumble shook the ground. Sira's older reflection tensed. "No, not this." A massive shadow fell over the valley. The crystal towers flickered. Some shattered. War drums echoed from beyond the horizon. Rylan squinted into the distance. An army marched toward them. A colossal force, far larger than the rival clan outside the caves. Sira whispered, "That is the future war, the one my clan fears." The vision shifted abruptly. Now they stood in a ruined battlefield. Dead warriors lay across the field. Destroyed ships smoked in the sky. The smell of ash and burnt earth filled the air. Rylan covered his mouth. "What happened?" Sira looked shaken. This is what happens if the bond fails. If we fight separately. If trust breaks." Then the vision twisted again. Quick, sharp, like a blade slicing reality. Another future appeared. This time, Rylan and Sira stood on opposite sides of the throne room, both wearing battle armor, both older, both changed. Sira's face was cold, hard. Her eyes no longer glowed with warmth, but with command. Rylan stood against her, armed, guarded, and distant. Two enemies instead of partners. Rylan felt his heart tighten. "Sira, what is this?" She swallowed hard. "The pool is showing a broken bond. A future where we turn on each other." Rylan took a step closer. "That's not going to happen." "You don't know that," she snapped, fear seeping in her voice. "You don't know how our worlds clash. You don't know what your people will demand. You don't know what my clan will force upon us. You don't know." He grabbed her shoulders gently. "Sira, stop." She fell silent. He kept his voice steady. "We're seeing possibilities, nothing more." But the pool wasn't finished. The world shattered again. Now they stood in a dimly lit chamber. Sira wounded, surrounded by enemies. Rylan rushed to help her, but she staggered back, pointing a blade at him. Her voice in the vision trembled. "You abandoned me." Rylan's chest tightened with guilt he didn't even understand. The vision Sira collapsed. Rylan shouted, lunging toward her, and the entire illusion shattered into blinding white. They both gasped as they were thrown back into the real chamber. The pool spun violently now, glowing bright enough to blind. Sira clutched Rylan's arm, breathing fast, shaken to her core. "That was only one half of the future," she whispered. "There's another half the pool will show next, the deepest one." Rylan wiped sweat from his brow. What could be deeper than all that? Sira trembled. "The future where the bond succeeds." Rylan frowned. "Isn't that good?" Sira looked at him, fear and something else shining in her eyes. "No, because if the bond succeeds, it means fate ties us together forever." The pool pulsed. Once, twice, like a heartbeat calling them deeper. Sira whispered, voice shaking, "Prepare yourself, Rylan, because the next vision will show what we become if neither of us walks away." Rylan stared into the swirling light, ready or not, as the final future began to rise. The pool of swirling light grew brighter, so bright that Rylan had to shield his eyes. Sira tightened her grip on his arm, her pulse racing fast enough that he could feel it through her skin. This wasn't like the first visions. Those were sharp, violent, chaotic. This one felt heavier, slower, heavier than destiny itself. A deep hum filled the chamber. The air grew warm. The stone beneath their feet vibrated softly. Sira whispered, "This is the last part, the path we take if the bond is accepted, if the custom becomes truth." Rylan looked at her, unsure. "Sira, whatever we see, it doesn't control us, right?" Sira didn't answer. Not immediately. Her eyes stayed locked on the pool. "It doesn't control us," she whispered at last, "but it reveals what we cannot deny." Before Rylan could reply, the final vision rose around them like a curtain of light and swallowed them whole. Rylan blinked as the chamber transformed again. This time, the world they stood in wasn't broken or burning. It was alive, healthy. A vast, glowing city stretched beneath a red sky. Towers carved with ancient symbols, floating bridges connecting structures made of crystal and stone. The air shimmered with warmth. Rivers of light flowed between buildings like liquid energy. Sira gasped, stepping forward. "This is my clan's capital." Her voice softened, filled with awe, but rebuilt, renewed, stronger than I have ever seen it. Rylan looked around. "How is this possible?" Sira answered without looking away. "This is what our world becomes if the bond succeeds." A strange stirring filled Rylan's chest. The city looked alive, unified, not torn by clan wars or rival factions. No smoke, no blood, no destruction, just peace. For the first time, Rylan turned to her, noticing her glow was different too, brighter, softer, balanced. In this vision, Sira looked like a leader. But then, movement, shouts, footsteps approaching. Rylan tensed, ready for danger. But instead, a group of warriors gathered around Sira. They bowed to her, then bowed to Rylan. Rylan blinked hard. "Okay, that's new." Sira slowly turned to him. "In this future, you are seen not as an outsider, but as my chosen partner, my equal, my bond." Rylan's breath hitched. "Chosen?" Sira held his gaze. "Yes." The word echoed through the vision, and then the ground shifted again, not violently, not destructively, more like a door opening. They now stood in a large council chamber, ornate, lit by soft blue flames. Sira and Rylan stood side by side before the council elders. A banner hung behind them, showing the symbols of two clans intertwined. "Unity," the elders spoke. "The bond is confirmed. Human and clan leader. Our worlds walk the same path." Rylan staggered a little. "Leader," he whispered to Sira. She exhaled. "In this future, I rise to leadership, and you stand beside me." Rylan shook his head, overwhelmed. "Sira, I'm just a soldier." "You become more," she said softly. "More than you ever imagined." She stepped closer, her voice quiet. "And I become more because of you." But before the moment could settle, the vision flickered. The sky darkened. The city trembled, not from destruction, but from transformation. They were pulled again into a deeper scene. This time, they stood in a quiet room, lit by soft crystals. A room that felt private, personal, full of meaning. Symbols glowed along the walls. Ancient symbols of unity. Sira approached a carved table covered with ritual marks. "This is the binding chamber," she whispered. "The place where partners seal their bond fully." Rylan swallowed hard. "And in this future, we complete it." Sira hesitated, longer than before. "Yes," she whispered. "We accept the custom completely. You become part of my clan, and I become part of your destiny." Her voice trembled. "And the bond ties our spirits forever." Rylan felt something heavy settle in his chest. Not fear, not excitement, something deeper. "Sira," he asked slowly, "is this what you want? Or just what the pool shows?" She looked away, struggling. "This is what is possible," she said softly. "But I never imagined it. I never allowed myself to." Rylan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You're afraid of this future." "Yes," she whispered, "because it is real. It is strong, and it means losing the life I knew." She met his eyes. "And it means trusting you." Rylan's voice lowered. "And that scares you?" Sira nodded slowly. "More than the guardian. More than the rival clan. More than the trial." Before Rylan could answer, the vision shattered again. Beautiful city, chamber, all dissolving into silver dust. They were pulled upward, out of the vision, back into the real chamber. Rylan and Syrah gasped as they hit the stone floor of the true cavern again. The pool dimmed to its original glow, quiet, calm, waiting. The final trial had finished. Syrah staggered, gripping her chest. "It is done," she whispered. "The trial has shown us all paths." Rylan steadied her. "Syrah, that last future." She held up a hand. "I know." Silence hung between them, heavy as stone. Rylan finally asked, "What does this mean for us?" Syrah looked toward the dark exit of the chamber, toward the rival clan approaching, toward the world waiting outside, toward the future the pool dared show them. "It means," she whispered, "now we decide which path we walk." Rylan exhaled. "And if we choose the wrong one?" Syrah turned to him, eyes glowing softly. "Then the world outside will choose for us." Before Rylan could ask what she meant, a thunderous crash echoed from the cave entrance. The rival clan had arrived. Their roars shook the mountain. The trials were done. The real danger had begun.